Hi, how are you? I'm going to do a really quick, quite dramatic smoky eye today. So hopefully, if you're thinking, do you know, I'd love to just feel really put together, but I haven't got the time, this might give you a little idea that you can actually throw it on in about 15 minutes. I just felt like doing something really glam today. I haven't done a big makeup in ages. I'm not really going anywhere. There's no reason for me to get dressed up. But it's like you'll never use all your stuff up if you just think like that. So I am essentially doing a full makeup to sit and do my emails. I'm going to start with some Your Skin But Better foundation. My skin is really quite red today. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover that up, because I just feel like I was having this conversation with someone the other day actually, that, you know, if you want to cover it up, that's great. If you don't want to cover it up, that's great. Like, everyone should just do what feels right for them. I'm not saying you should be covering up your skin, but I do think if you're looking in the mirror, rolling your eyes, huffing and puffing, like I've definitely caught myself in the mirror a few times today and thought, oh, you know, I don't look very nice, or my skin doesn't look good today. If you're doing that, then it's always best to, I think, distract yourself from that conversation. So if I've got a bit of makeup on now, I'll stop thinking, oh, my skin looks red or this, that, the other. I'll just be looking at my makeup the next time I pass the mirror, if that makes sense. So that is a plan to get some makeup on. And I'm going to take a nice sheer wash of this all over. And then with whatever is left on my hand, which isn't really that much to be fair, I'm going to just press that in and add a tiny bit more coverage, specifically where I know I'm likely to get a bit more red. Now, base is on. The next thing I'm going to do is a really quick smoky eye. Now, before I actually do the smokiness, I'm just going to go in with my liner. So I'm going to take that through the waterline on both sides. And I'm going in with a lovely duo from Surratt, and you get a cream and glitter that complement each other well. So you're not kind of looking at a palette and wondering which colours to put together or anything like that. They've done all of the guesswork for you. Now, as you can see, that has smudged a little bit. I'm not too bothered because I'm going over that in a moment with my cream. So I'm literally just focusing on getting this on. As always, I have my tissue here for any spills on my hands, and I'm actually going to go in with the cream on my fingers as well. So this is our unit. You've got your little cream here and then glitter underneath. As you can see, this is a really dark navy. So I'm going to start by pressing this all over the lid, and then I'm going to take a brush. Oh, sorry, I haven't shown you what I'm doing. I'm going to take a brush to buff this one out. Now I'm going to take that right the way up to the natural crease. And I know this looks really messy, but all I'm worried about for now is getting this on. And then I've wiped a bit of the excess on the back of my hand. I'm going in with a clean blending brush, and I'm just going to soften that edge so that I've got this nice, really blended out blur on those edges. Now that still looks a bit messy, so while we're like this, I'm going to go back in and pat some of that cream. Then I'm going to take my brush again and just soften where that cream blends out into nothing. And then While this is still a little bit wet, I'm going to take the same finger and just go straight over here with some of this glitter. And you see that will actually help to bring together any of those patches. See, I bet you were terrified a second ago, what the hell is she doing? But that has actually come together, hasn't it? So let's hope we can do the same on the other side. So I've cleaned my ring finger on my tissue. I'm going in again, packing it on first of all. Oh, and one thing I should have said, I've done them one eye at a time because I don't want them to dry on me. I want to work with them while they're still creamy. Because if I'd put them both on, by the time I'd finished that eye, this one would have dried in and I wouldn't have been able to blend it. So I'm going to buff away any excess blue from that brush and then soften this edge again. I don't think I've got as much product on this eye, so I might need to build a little bit more. Can you see what I'm doing here? There we go. I'm just buffing that out to have a nice soft navy edge. Take it out a little bit further. I'm going to go in again. The nice thing about creams like this as well is that I'm not going to have any drop down, which is really handy. And then even the glitter, I'm going in with my finger to kind of press it in. Now, how's that feeling? Very nice. Now I'm going to go in. There's still lots of cream on this finger, but you get the gist. This is just one of those days. And I'm going to press some of that glitter right the way over. I'm not taking the glitter all the way up so that that also has the illusion of fading out into the softer socket there. I actually think I did a bit of a nicer job on this side. You can still kind of see the depth of the cream in that crease. But I'll know for next time, won't I? We're only 7 minutes in. Why not take some of that under the eye? I'm going to go in with a little smudger brush with the cream. And this time I'm going to work that in using this brush and get that right the way up, close to those lashes. I'm not going to take it all the way in. I feel like that could potentially be a little bit more unflattering. I'm taking it about halfway through, I would say. I'm taking it right the way along. I'm not sure if you haven't heard of Surratt, basically. Troy Surratt was Kevin Aucoin's assistant. So really fab makeup artist, and this is his own line. I'm going to use the highlighter as well to show you. I've only used a couple of things from Surratt and they are just like unreal. You can tell that a makeup artist has made them because look at what I've just done there with like a tiny brush and mostly my hands, but it looks like you've spent so long putting your makeup together. Okay, speaking of that highlighter, I'm going to make sure that I have got every bit of blue off these hands before I get it all over my face. So I'm near enough clean, I'd say. Okay, I'm going to do a tiny little bit through my brows. I don't want them to look too polished or done, but equally, I just want them to have a little bit of depth because I feel like that will make the eyes look even more dramatic if these are nice and polished. There we go. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I think this jumper has just rubbed off on me. My friend Kate got it for me for Christmas years ago, and I've been I don't know what kinds of like fashion pages you follow, but loads of the fashion pages I follow are people saying like, go and look in your wardrobe and pick things up that you haven't worn in years, and very much like encouraging you to make the best of what you've got at home. And I've been wearing things that I just haven't worn for years and I love it. I feel like sometimes you forget how much you love something when you haven't had it on in ages. So I'm very glad the very colourful jumper came out today. Okay, now I'm going to warm up the rest of my face with a little bit of bronzer on a nice large brush. For a number of reasons. I think that a very bold eye like this can automatically kind of wash you out a little. But also I've had a slightly darker toner put on my hair and it feels really dark, and I do feel like when I've got a little bit of bronzer on, it makes my hair feel a bit blonder by comparison. But I am going to put a bit more blonde in my hair, to be honest. It doesn't quite feel like me when it's this dark. Okay, everything's on. I'm just going to return to this brush now that that cream has had a little bit of time to sit, and you'll notice that the inner corners I didn't go right the way into, so that is where I'm going to come back using my highlighter. I would have gone in and used my hands for this, but I'm not 100% confident that I don't still have blue on them. So I'm actually going to take an eyeshadow brush. I don't know how this will work. And this is a Kevyn Aucoin highlighter cream. It's very, see, I'm going to break my own rule here. I'm going to go really gently, pat that on and buff it out with the brush. If you don't have any redness or you're not achieving coverage, then by all means go straight onto the skin with your stick. This is actually so pigmented that I'm barely having to touch the skin, so it's fine. But basically for me, I never tend to do that because I've just spent all that time building coverage over the redness. The last thing I want to do is then remove it by pressing too firmly with anything else on the complexion. But I'm going to buff that in to those little areas, a little bit on the end of the nose, a little bit on this little bridge, a little bit on the Cupid's bow. I'm going to also take some, this is a double-ended brush and there's a smaller angled end that I can really chisel into this inner corner. And if that mixes with a tiny bit of the blue, it's actually fine because it'll just add to the kind of ethereal situation we have going on here for a Monday spent at home. Okay, 13 minutes. I am going to, hang on, I've got something itching my nose. That is the first thing I'm going to do. Then I haven't decided what kind of lippy I'm going to go for yet, but I haven't even put my mascara on. So let's see how this will transform with a nice hearty dose of mascara. And I just know that for me, oh, by the way, that little spill, I'm not going to go near while it's still wet. I'll clean that up in a bit once it's dry. And that lovely guy from NARS, Vincent Ford, that I was talking about the other day, he said the best way to approach that is to, on your brush or your cotton bud or whatever you're using, put some of the eyeshadow on that you've used and then use that to buff away the mistake. So that is what I'm going to do with that in a little while. And then I think I'm going to finish off just with a little bit of MAC gloss. So, keep it nice and soft and let the eyes do the talking. Well, that is me ready for a day of having cups of tea at my laptop. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be speaking to you again very soon.